Hi guys, so I was very lucky to be sent a sample of a new wire that Andrew's bringing out for his Cahira Nitinol, I think is how you pronounce the company. And it's a wire that I've been using for quite a while in £44 and £24 breaking strain for my traces, and I also use it to make my dead bait traces out. And now he sent me this newer strand, and I've got my notes down here. It's a triple core £90 breaking strain, and for a start, for it being £90, I'm just amazed at how subtle it is and how thin it is, but it's still got that bit of stiffness you need for that extra for your big baits. This would be ideal for when you're using your pull baits like your squirrely burt type lures or your gliders or your jerks, where there's a chance of the lure overtaking the trace and hooking up on the trebles and getting tangled. But this has got that bit of stiffness where it will kick away from it and keep you tangle free. And the main selling points for all of these wires is how kink resistant it is. I can wrap this up in my hand and squeeze it and like move it around, and it just does not kink. The wires I've used in the lower brands, the £44 and I've had for ages. The only reason I lose them is if I get them snagged. I've never had to take one off for kinking. I used to use the Drennan wire when I first started, and that green coated stuff, and it was horrible. One fish and you'll have like curls like a pigtail. I have dabbled in fluorocarbon. I used it when I was trying like surface fishing, but I'm having to check it every time I catch a fish just in case there's a nicks, and I've already gone through 4 litres of that. This stuff lasts you for ages. He's selling it for £12 and it comes in a 2 metre coil. Now you might think 2 metres for £12 ain't much, but you'd be able to get about 4 traces from that. And like I say, these last for absolutely ages. I think his best is over 50 fish on the one trace. So I'm going to go on to how I make a trace. So if you don't want to see that bit, go and check his website out. His website's out great as well. He's got crimp swivels, split rings, and it's so easy to use, and you know which stuff goes with which wire. I don't use anything else now. All my wire goes from this. So I hope you find it quite useful, and like I say, it's just the kink, the way it does not kink is the main selling point. And we were fortunate that when we did the Children with Cancer lure comp, he donated 40 traces, and a lot of them traces went out to people, and I know that they'll do really well with them, so it's well worth having a look. And also with this wire you can knot it. I always creep mine, never had a problem with it, and in the end you need to trust your traces, and I trust this 100%. But if you like knotting, you can knot this as well. So I hope you find it useful. Go and check his website out, and this is how I make my traces. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on my crimps, and I say crimps because Andrew advises to use two lots, because the crimps are more likely to deteriorate first than the trace. So put 2 on, and it just stops that from happening too much. So I've got 2 double barrel crimps on there. Then I'll just use some of these carp swivels. If these swivels are good enough for hard fighting powerful carp, they're going to be good enough for pike and trying to pull any snags out. So you just thread it through, bend it over to form a loop, and then just pass the other end back through your 2 crimps. 1, 2. Now I always like to leave a little loop at the end, just so that swivel's got a bit of room to move. So once you've done that, just give them a real good hard press with your crimping tool. And like I say, I've always crimped and I've never had a problem, and it all comes down to trust, and I trust the way I make them. You can knot them, but I never have. And then just cut off the excess wire. if you can, it's always good to do a free pass and push it back in, but for now that's good enough. And then exactly the same the other end. So first crimp on, second crimp on, and my clips that I like are these two Sami cost like snaps, size 4, £60, and I think they've always been really good and strong. I have had a couple of lures where I've had to have split rings on because the end won't go through, like say the jigger or something, but all in all these are great for what I've used them for. So again, just push it through, form a loop like that at the end, and then thread that tag end back through the 2 crimps. 1, 2, shove it up, but leave a little bit of gap for manoeuvre, and then give it a good hard squeeze in the crimp. 1, 2, and then just give it a good pull just to test it, and that ain't going anywhere, no slippage, and that will last me a lifetime. Just cut that off, or until I get snagged or cast in a tree. There you go, £90 triple core Cahira Nitinol wire trace done.